So this video is about the difference between user interface and user experience. UI, user interface, and UX, user experience. Now, at a very basic, simple explanation, user experience is what does your target audience, what does your website visitor feel? What do they do based on how they feel when they come to your website? Okay? In order to influence that behavior, your website needs to have a few key elements in place, i.e., your web strategy. Now, what is user interface then? User interface should be part of the user experience. You don't just go around creating different colors on your website. You say you're a designer, you don't just go to your website and just have a bunch of different colors that don't mean anything. There was a video created recently on brand colors, choosing the right colors for your site, and that's based on various elements, various different ways to think about your site. But at its core, the user interface is the pretty shell on top of a complex structure designed for your site visitor to carry out a specific task. Now, for my website, I've created 5 menu elements. You have the very clearly defined navigation. And on any page, you go to any page of this website, you'll find the menu. It's very clear. So another reason I chose 5 menu elements is because in a human being's short-term memory, usually they can take about -2 plus 2 of 7 elements. That means at a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 9. So my best bet is to always have five navigational elements. What do I want somebody to do when they go through my site? I just want them to browse. I have various other websites. This website is just for, contract work, for clients, for people that are interested in hiring services. So I want them to go through this site and see, oh, okay, she's done work for all these people here. It's a really nice portfolio. Some details on skills, design, development services. I've also provided learning resources because that's what I eventually want to do. Not just create, but create with a team, showing mentorship abilities. So it's very important to have a website that is not just, bells and whistles. It's not just pretty, but it's neat, but it's structured to influence customer or client behavior. I have other websites that will help this website run better, and this website will help either drive sales or influence behavior on these other websites. But let's take a look at some of the points to note when you are creating a website and you basically want to make sure that someone comes to your site, they're having a good user experience. We talked about some navigational elements. You've probably heard about Fitts Law, and you could look up Fitts Law in Wikipedia, but it's about the starting position of your mouse to the target area, and basically at any given point your client has about, or your site visitor has about several points to hit. And the takeaway from Fitts Law is that you create a big object in a smaller space, i.e. creating a button that is big enough and obvious enough for them to know where to click at any given point. In short, without going into the entire science of it, it is making things as simple as humanly possible for your site visitor. They don't have to guess. They never feel lost when they come to your site. It's very clear. Another point to note is fonts. Notice that the fonts used on this website is very clear. Now, this is the main message if I want people to, look and see some more details. I mean, there'll always be some new videos being placed over here. Any upcoming videos, just place it in this section. And I can have more videos if I feel like it. And you see that over there? You see this little arrow? Now, this is a cool little jQuery element. It shows that I know how to use jQuery, but it also shows that at any given point, it's easy to go to the top of the screen. It makes it very easy. It's an easy user experience. Let's note some other points, like advertisements. Sometimes your website may have a couple of advertisements. Are those advertisements relevant to your site? Because if not, there's going to be a disconnect. I'd rather you just didn't use any advertisements if your ads are not relevant. Okay? Make sure that every time you have any web page, you always take the route of making something clear and legible and concise versus messy, busy, too much. Nobody cares. They'll get lost. There are billions of other websites in the world. They will leave your website if your message is not clear. Now, some websites that are large, they may have a search function. A huge content-based website will have a search box. It's rare somebody's going to go to your sitemap. It's useful to have a sitemap. I would say if you're a company, like a mid-sized company, it makes sense to have a sitemap. But for the most part, a person will go to a search box if you have a content-heavy website. Now, I've put a little search icon over here, which in the future, I'm hoping to increase free learning resources. Therefore, if somebody's looking for a specific video on, say, a specific topic, they can just type it in and it'll give them the result. So I'm looking to create this website as a resource space. Okay, so I'd put a little search button here on top. Now, if my website was, just a couple of key elements, then I would probably put that search box somewhere at the bottom because everything is so obvious. I don't need to have that search button right there. But in this case, based on the direction where this is going, it makes sense to have that over there. Another thing you have to remember is a long time ago, somebody decided that, links are going to be in blue. So every time I create a site, I'm going to change this to blue. But basically, whenever you have a link that's going somewhere, it's a simple link, like not a box link like this or an image link. Let's say some text over here. I'd have that when a mouse goes over, it changes to blue. It was decided a long time ago, and that's been the norm. So it's very easy for people to look at a link and they see, oh, okay, it's that that really boring basic blue. If you do a search in Google, there is a basic color for links. Let's do. Okay, you see this blue, this type of a blue color. That's the link blue. So there are various things to keep in mind when it comes to user interface and user experience, but these are a few key topics. I will be putting out a course on user experience in the future, but But I just want to cover that user experience is the strategy. It is everything that decides the color, that decides the interface. Interface comes from experience that you would like to create. So keep these key points in mind, and it'll make it very easy for your website visitor to access and navigate your site with no problems.